Year's Eve 2024, and a turbulent year in world history lies almost behind us. 2025 will change a lot, not necessarily for the better, but that could be a very different video. It could be a different YouTube channel, actually. It is time to deliver my top 10 fiction reads of 2024. And since our attention span is limited, we dive right in. Come on, number 10 of my favorite books of 2024 in fiction is The Storm We Made by Vanessa Chan, published in 2024. It's a historical novel set in Malaya during World War II. The story follows Cecily Alcantara, a housewife who becomes an unlikely spy for the Japanese forces, driven by the ideal of an Asia for Asians. Her espionage inadvertently leads to a brutal occupation endangering her very own family. And as the war intensifies, Cecily's past actions catch up with her, and she must confront the consequences to protect her loved ones, her own children. The novel explores themes of colonialism, moral ambiguity, and the complexities of survival during wartime. Number 9. All the Sinners Bleed by S.A. Cosby, published in June 2023. This book introduced me to the work of S.A. Cosby, which I'm really glad for, since I will keep Cosby on my watch list from now on. The narrative follows Titus Crown, the county's first black sheriff who returns home after a career with the FBI, aiming to reform the local justice system. His resolve is tested when a school shooting leads to the death of a beloved teacher, Jeff Spearman, and the shooter, a young black boy named Latrell McDonald. Yeah, that's a real problem. As Titus delves deeper into the case, he uncovers disturbing evidence linking Spearman to a series of heinous crimes against black children, revealing a hidden serial killer operating within the community. Navigating the complexities of race, justice, and personal demons, Titus confronts the town's dark history and his own past to bring the perpetrator to justice. The novel masterfully explores themes of systemic racism, moral ambiguity, and the personal cost of seeking the truth. There's a lot of extreme violence in this book, so a little warning here, but then again, the United States have a very violent history, especially in terms of its race relations, and that is reflected in S.A. Cosby's writing and is absolutely understandable. Number 8, Ducks, 2 Years in the Oil Sands by Kate Beaton. This is one of 2 Canadian titles in my top 10 list this year, which underlines that I'm still returning to Canadian authors. I'm glad about that. It's a graphic memoir, but I would not put it on a non-fiction list since part of the events here are fictionalized as I understand. The narrative chronicles Beaton's experiences working in the Alberta oil sands to pay off her student loans. I did not know much about the oil sands in Alberta until the beginning of 2024 when I read both Beaton's memoir and John Whalen's non-fiction brilliant book Fireweather about the great wildfire in 2016 that almost destroyed the whole town of Fort McMurray in Alberta, sort of the capital of the oil sands region. But back to Beaton. Through monochromatic illustrations, she delves into the challenges of being a young woman from Eastern Canada coming to earn money to quickly pay back her student loans into an almost exclusively male environment, addressing issues such as sexual harassment, environmental degradation, and the economic pressures faced by workers. For me, another example of that there are more and more graphic fiction or non-fiction books that are really great works of literature. Number 7, Bright Young Women by Jessica Canal. Canal has written a thriller about the crimes of American serial killer Ted Bundy, but she doesn't mention his name just a single time in the book. Instead, we delve into the lives of the bright young women that crossed Ted Bundy's path, which is the central point of her novel. It can be read as a very harsh and critical approach to a lot of true crime literature or TV shows or movies, which glorify sometimes serial killers as geniuses, as hyper-intelligent and even charismatic yet dangerous creatures, when they are actually nothing but despicable and disgusting characters who destroy the lives of often young women. The story starts in the 1970s and takes us as long as 2021, and it focuses on Pamela Shoemaker, a fictitious character who survives Bundy's murders at Florida State University in Tallahassee, and on Tina Cannon, a woman from Seattle who investigates the disappearance of her friend Ruth. just brilliant and different crime fiction, but way more than that, since Canal holds a mirror in front of us, uncovering misogynism, the sensationalism that puts perpetrators over victims, a truly feminist work. Number 6, come on, Homeland by Fernando Aramburu. This was a great discovery. When I went to the Basque Country in May this year to see the UEFA Women's Champions League final in the beautiful city of Bilbao, I wanted to read a book playing in the Basque Country. Aramburu's novel is exploring the profound conflict, the profound impact of the ETA, the ETA separatist movement on two intertwined families. The narrative begins with Bitori, a widow whose husband Chato was murdered by ETA. Following ETA's announcement of a ceasefire in the beginning of the novel, Bitori decides to return to her hometown, seeking closure and answers about her husband's death. This decision rekindles tensions with her former friend Miren, whose son Jorge Mari is imprisoned for his involvement with ETA. Through a non-linear narrative told in a lot of short vignettes, about 1 to 4 pages long, the novel delves into the personal and communal ramifications of political violence, examining themes of friendship, betrayal, and the quest for reconciliation in a society scarred by conflict. It is masterfully told, and I want to read more by Fernando Aramburu. This novel was published in 2016 in Spain. It won a lot of awards and was also turned into a very impressive HBO series by the name of Patria, which is also the original title of the novel in 2020. Number 5, The Most by Jessica Anthony. My surprise reading of 2024. The Most was longlisted for the National Book Award, and yes, it should be pronounced The Most, since it refers to a tactical tennis term coined by a fictitious Czech tennis player coaching in the US. The Czech word most means bridge in English. To the book, set on an unseasonably warm November day in 1957, the story centers on Kathleen Beckett, a former college tennis champion turned Delaware housewife who decides to take a dip in her apartment complex's swimming pool and refuses to come out. She doesn't get out of the pool. This unexpected act disrupts her seemingly idyllic mid-century marriage to Virgil, who is an insurance salesman and serves as a catalyst for unraveling the unspoken tensions and secrets between the two. As the hours pass on that day, the narrative delves into themes of marital dissatisfaction, personal identity, and societal expectations, offering a poignant critique of 1950s American domestic life. A great read. It makes me curious on more by Jessica Anthony. I have been already recommended to look at Enter the Artwork. Number 4, The House of Doors by Tan Tuan Eng. It is a historical novel set in the 1920s British Malaya, primarily on the island of Penang. The story centers on Leslie Hamlin and her husband Robert, a lawyer and war veteran who hosts the real renowned writer W. Somerset Maugham and his secretary and lover Gerald Haxton at their home, Cassowary House. As Maugham becomes acquainted with Leslie, she confides in him about her troubled marriage, about cheating on her husband, about her love affair with a Chinese revolutionary, and a scandal involving her friend Ethel Proudlock, who was tried for murder in 1911. These revelations inspire Maugham's literary work, blurring the lines between reality and fiction. Amazing scenes between Maugham and Leslie when they sit together and she tells him her story, which ultimately will end up as the topic of one of his most famous short stories. Fiction merges with real life and vice versa. A very pleasant and atmospheric read that I highly recommend. Now we come to the medals here. Number 3, from Canada, His Whole Life by Elizabeth Hay. This was my second novel by Elizabeth Hay after the amazing Late Nights on Air that won the Scotiabank Gilla Award, I think in 2007-2008. And it is the second novel by Hay that easily makes my top 10 of a year. I really love her writing. His Whole Life is a poignant coming-of-age novel set in the mid-1990s during a time when the Canadian province of Quebec, the French-speaking province of Quebec, was on the verge of leaving Canada. The story follows 10-year-old Jim and his Canadian mother, Nan. And when I say his Canadian mother, it has to be said that he has an American father, George. And they journey from New York City to a lake in eastern Ontario during the last hot days of August. Over the next few pivotal years of Jim's youth, the novel moves from city to country and back, from summer to winter and back, well-being to illness, charting the deepening bond between mother and son even as the family comes apart. Hay deftly explores the complexities of family dynamics, national identity and personal growth, offering a richly intimate portrayal of a family in transition. Rarely I have read such a beautiful mother-son relation than in this amazing novel. But also Lulu, Nan's best friend in Canada, is just a wonderful and interesting character, and her interactions with Nan and also with Jim are beautifully captured and beautifully described by Elizabeth Hay. The silver medal goes to, well, I think so many medals go to James by Percival Everett. James reimagines Mark Twain's Adventures of Huckleberry Finn from the perspective of Jim, the enslaved man who accompanies Huck on his journey down the Mississippi River. In Everett's retelling, Jim, who will slowly develop to James, is portrayed as literate, intelligent and resourceful, concealing his literacy to protect himself in a society that punishes educated enslaved individuals. Percival Everett has said that James is a nod to Mark Twain. It surely delivers a perspective that Samuel Clement, aka Mark Twain, could not have because of the times he lived in. Huck Finn has been called the beginning of American literature, and as much as this might be true, Jim was only a supporting character in White Huck's adventures. James delivers another layer to that beginning almost 150 years later. And now comes the winner. Number 1 is Americanah by Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie. In the end, this decision was easy for me. The story follows Ife Melo, a young Nigerian woman who moves to the United States for college, leaving behind her boyfriend Obinze. In America, Ife Melo confronts the complexities of race for the first time and starts a blog about her observations on racism and also on identity. Meanwhile, Obinze, he's unable to join Ife Melo in the United States. He gets no visa post 9/11, experiences the harsh realities of the undocumented life in the UK. He's in London. Their paths diverge as they adapt to their new worlds, but their love for each other remains a constant undercurrent in this amazingly written and beautifully told novel. Years later, Ife Melo returns to Nigeria, where she and Obinze face the challenges of reconciling their past with their changed selves. The novel is celebrated for its sharp commentary on societal norms, on its deeply human portrayal of love and self-discovery. Americanah is my favorite read of 2024 because it is as epic as James, even more immersive and exploring an even wider variety of themes here. Adichie is an enormously gifted writer, making the last completed read of 2024 my favorite read of this year. So now please let me know what your favorite reads of 2024 were in the comments down here below. 7 of my 10 favorites came from the City Library of Stockholm. Thank you for that. Tack så mycket. 1 was an audiobook and 2 I had in my shelves, or on my shelves. Thanks for watching this video, and I see you on the other side of the calendar, hopefully next year. Bye.